Hi, Beth.
How are you? It's good to
man.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I like these, where you can talk to people with this Zoom or Boom or Womb.
I know.
So I'm gonna get right into it. Okay, so I have 12 children. A couple of them are scary, we're in jail still.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go different kind of questions I want to ask you with. So like this, okay? A lot of people, mothers, fathers, wives, sisters, uncles, aunties, grandma, grandpa, know that the person in their family they want healed is doing dope. They know it.
Yes.
A lot of people would, my mother will never snitch me off. My mother will never tell on me. My mother will never do this to me. My mother loves me, okay? Was there a time when you had to draw a line between being a snitch, a mother? Oh, you like that? Yeah. Was there a time, here's the son now, completely healed. Was there a time when you were like, I've got to rat him off. I've got to tell, I don't care what he thinks about me. I love him. I want to hear an ambulance at night is not him. He's safe in jail. I'm sorry to say that.
Absolutely. And it was more than once, because this epic journey went on for 13 years. Okay. And it was an epic. And it was 3 different states, just years of terror for both of us. And as a mother, you go through all different feelings and emotions. And, in the beginning, it's like shock and it's, what do you do? And it's panic. And then, but as the time goes on and you see that, you see what's really going on with the addict, and then it's just all about getting the right answers that hopefully fits your child.
So where did you call? Did you call the local police department?
Well,
We have the sheriff. Who'd you tell on it to?
He had some different. One of the problems is Dana had some things going on that early on, when I really wanted to call in the beginning, I couldn't. Because there had been some false charges on him that finally got straightened out, and it would have made it much worse. So I was between a rock and a hard place, and I really wanted to make that phone call.
I'm going to dissect your answers because they're very good. Okay, so in other words, they charge, he gets this is hypothetical, he gets in a fight with his girlfriend. She wants to leave the room. He grabs her by the arm and says, no, you're going to stay. The neighbor calls the cops. They get her in the hallway and they say, did he try to get you from leaving? And she goes, yes. And they charge him with kidnapping.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then if you say he's doing dope also, that kidnapping becomes like a real serious kidnapping.
Right? Correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah.
So that's what you mean. You gotta, as a mother, you have to not tell ask for help, because if you do, it's going to make it look worse on him.
Absolutely.
So what did you do?
So I used as many resources as I possibly could, because I knew that this was over my head. In the very first time that Dana came to me and said, Mom, I'm in trouble. Okay. He was 16 years old. I did not know this. I had no clue. Okay, no clue. I knew he was messing up and doing crazy stuff, and we had dealt with different things before, but not of this level.
Okay.
So I was shocked when he told me. So I went on Google and found that the only place at that time helping with this was Florida. And at the time, his uncle lived in Florida. wasn't the most stable guy in the world, but it was the only connection I had.
Right.
So I found this program. It was a program that you would just go, and Dana could probably elaborate, but it was an outpatient thing. And he needed a place to live, and I wasn't going to have him live in a hotel while doing this. So anyway, long story short, he went and lived with his uncle, and his uncle had to take him to this place. His uncle being his uncle, I had to pay him to do that.
Right.
but anyway, I did. It was
Oh,
fine. So he went and that was our first journey down that path. And I think it was okay for a while, but not understanding that addiction is not just detox.
Right.
You know, and that's what I think most families get into. Well, as soon as he gets sober, he'll be good. You know, no. Because there's always a behind story. There's always a story underneath that says why this person went down this path in the first place.
Okay, stop right there. That's my next question. You brought it up quicker than I thought. We're going to go back to what do you do, who do you call?
Okay.
You knew that he was doing drugs. Did you go through your history of your life, your grandma's life, your mother's life, your uncle's life, and then say, oh, that's where he got it? Did you think because maybe he used to drink wine at every single meal, that's where he got his addiction?
No, I didn't think that. I was, because this was, you know, there's a lot of alcoholism in my family, as there is especially the Irish are very well known for their addiction issues, for their drinking issues. But and there was some, but I guess you'd call mostly functioning at that point.
Right.
So Dana's father, we weren't together anymore. We had been apart for quite a while, and we were still close. He was a really good guy, but he drank too much, and I couldn't deal with the drinking. But he still was functioning in the beginning.
Father drank a lot.
Yes, and
So
then that was progressive.
It might be able to say that's where he inherited the DNA. Right? It wasn't from you.
And I think it was on his father's side, his grandfather, and father, but also my father was definitely, in my father's family, there was also alcoholism.
Okay, so this is great. You've got, and which is, 99.9% of people. Now, because of the fact that it wasn't your poor baby's fault, you're the mother, did you be like, oh, it's not his fault, he'll get over it, he'll grow out of it, I don't want to put the hammer down just yet. If his dad wasn't a drinker like that, it's because his dad. Was there any time that you stalled your charge, like Custard blew the charge, and you're done, he's getting well, or you're out of the picture? Did you stall a little bit making excuses for him, is what I'm saying?
I didn't make excuses because he inherited the addiction. I made excuses because he had been sexually abused as a child, and
so
that
something as a child got to you, and you said that's why. You know how many parents we're talking to right now that are not, or know that their husband or their kid is doing dope, or their daughter, and they're not going to turn them in, and they're not going to do that because they're blaming themselves.
Absolutely.
Okay, now how do I tell a mother, because you're the mother going to tell a mother, how do you get by that and say, bull hockey, this is why, not the inheritance? Is there any preachers in your family?
I'm sorry?
Any pastors, preachers in your bloodline?
No, we're pretty much Catholic.
Any priests or any of that? Any nuns?
Not in my family.
On your husband's side, is there?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
What I was going to say, if you had said, yeah, my brother's a preacher, I would have said, well, how come he didn't get the preacher stuff in his life? But since there ain't no pastors, we'll skip that. So what do you tell a mother that's like, it's not his fault, it's not my daughter's fault, that she's doing this, it's mine and her mother, and what do you say, stop right now and fix this?
Well, you have to stop right now and fix it no matter whose fault it is. And first of all, the word fault and blame really needs to be taken out of the equation, because in any family, the blame game, no matter what the circumstance, is not helpful. I mean,
So
this doesn't solve any
it's
problem.
his own fault, you're saying. It's his own fault. He knows right from wrong. Put him in
No,
there.
I'm not even saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You have a disease, you have an addiction. This is going to kill you one way or the other. It could be long or short term. If it's alcohol, it's long term, but it kills you anyway. If it's short, it kills relationships, it kills families, it kills your body, your parts, your body parts. If it's addiction, drugs, it kills your relationships, your family. It can kill you in a second and a half.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. When people start talking and going down that path to me, I just say stop doing that, because it's not helpful. Let's look at action. You have to take an action, and you have to understand that pointing fingers is such a negative thing for someone who already feels so hopeless.
Right.
Addiction is a hopeless, isolating situation.
Right.
If I had $1 for every parent or any person said, oh, is he partying too much? And I'm like, real addiction is not a party. He's
Right.
not sitting in a room having fun.
Right. So how many times did you turn him in, or call a rehab center, or call somebody? Was there ever anybody that you could trust and call on and tell on him? Was there anybody that loved him almost as much as you did, where you could call that person and go, listen, Mom, what do I do with him? What did you do with me, Mommy? So you had to, which is good, you had to set your own standards, wake up one day and say, like I told you, once I heard an ambulance when one of my kids was going bad, and I heard the siren, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope that's not Tucker. The next week, Tucker was in jail. I heard the ambulance again, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. That ain't Tucker, because he's safe in jail.
Right.
Did you feel safe when he went to jail and when he went to these rehabs?
I felt, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I felt very safe when he went to the rehabs. However,
Okay.
Dana was a constant, what do they call it, AMA? Against mental.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
I like to take off every once in a while.
Yeah.
I forgot he was here. I'm talking like he's not here.
He was a constant. So every time I would get that phone call from the addiction, from the detox or the program, I was sick to my stomach before I would ever hear what they had to say, because I knew what it meant. And there was only a few places that were able to talk him off of a cliff, really, because that's really what it is when you get that call. And let me mention jail. So the first time that he went to jail for drugs, I was relieved, but I also was ignorant. I was very ignorant about jails. Okay,
You didn't know there's more dope in jail than there is the street.
Thank you, exactly. Right. And I didn't realize how dangerous it could be for an addict to be taken off the street and thrown in jail, because medically.
You mean like heroin? Is that what you did?
Yeah, medically, Xanax. All
well, I got any kind of what's the word? Not barbiturate, but what's it called? The family
Benzos.
But well, heroin is
heroin. Opiate.
Any kind of opiate that you quit smoking, doing, or shooting can actually, your body can kill itself. Only this year have, like, small towns. I put a junkie in jail that, he pooped all over himself for 3 days, dog. And I'm like, oh my God, he's throwing up like a giraffe in there.
Yeah.
And like, this guy's gonna die. Are you guys out of your mind? No, don't kill him. They thought an overdose is the only way. With this narcotic, getting off of the dope can cause your body to reverse and shut down. It's just like you taking a car in reverse, you're heading towards a cliff, and you hit the brake to stop it. That's what the body does, and you die. So I didn't know he was heroin. That's the worst. That's the hardest drug to quit.
Oh yeah.
So he was in jail. he had, you know, issues. He was like choking. They put you in the infirmary, throw you a wet towel and let you poop all over yourself. And then the
Pretty
guards
much,
come by and go, you like that shit like that? You know, there was no hope. So,
So that's why for me, when I hear, you know, parents sort of creating a more negative, you know, thinking if you talk down to your kid, if you know, beat them up verbally, you know, call them names and all this, all you're doing is feeding into their self-hatred. This,
right.
you don't go to bed feeling good about yourself when you're an addict. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. You just don't.
Right.
So when someone who is supposed to love you and protect you feeds on that negativity, you're just creating this cycle of addiction. You're making it worse.
Exactly.
But of course, it's very hard to get support from family members or friends who don't get it. And most people don't get it.
So now, the new rehab that he's got, you guys have together. You're the matriarch of the family.
Yes.
So, a mother can't call him. Well, maybe his girlfriend. I've met her, but I haven't talked to her yet. So in the new rehab, you know, works because you helped design it through the years and years of your son doing dope. You took every good thing out of each month that happened, put them all together, and now you got the combination to the safe. Are you going to be available if one of my people's mothers gets you on the phone in the back room and she's like, oh my God, Beth, what do I do? Are you around?
I would love to take that phone call.
Okay.
I would be honored to take those phone calls because I do think I do have a perspective which is different. Because he did go to so many different types of rehabs, and he really did, good ones and bad ones. And it was the, you know, I'm going to go back to one thing you had asked me about the guilt.
Okay.
So in the place that he got sober finally, they had a family program. Once you reached a certain point, they had a family program if you wanted to participate. And you came down for a couple of days. And it was in that room, okay, sitting around with all of the guys in the program and the director and all of these people that I was able to let go of that guilt because one of the exercises was a letter that you were supposed to write to each other. Do you remember this, Dana?
Oh, I do.
And I literally,
cry now.
well, in this letter, Dana had basically said in the letter that he forgave me.
Oh.
And you don't know how that just hit me. Again, we're sitting knee to knee, surrounded by everyone. And he said, Mom, I forgive you because of the whole, because, well, don't forget, he was sexually abused on my watch. He was
what, you just locked him in a room with a pervert or what? So why was it your fault?
No, it wasn't. It was her perception of how she took it.
She thought you were lying to her?
No, she
No.
took it on herself like that it was her responsibility.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
That. Of course she knows
right, but it didn't.
But you, as a mother, you listen to me. He was 4 years old and he said to me, and I didn't know at this point that he was being sexually abused by a 14-year-old kid down the street. And he said to me, Mom, you know, I love you, but you can't take care of me. And I'm like, what do you mean I can't take care of you? You can't keep me safe. Now, I thought he was talking about, monsters under his bed or rock
in the closet, right?
But he wasn't. He was
okay.
trying to tell me something and I didn't hear it. Okay? So it was that kind of thing that happened. And you just don't, and that's always with you. So in this room with these good people and this sort of group process, I was able to let go of that terrible guilt that I suffered with. I really did. At that moment.
Throughout my whole addiction, she blamed herself for what had happened because there was so much that happened, and it was my father was an alcoholic and had left, and she felt guilty for that, and it was just among other things, right? And I think it was very healing for her, and I knew it was going to be. And that's why I wanted to tell her, like, I don't blame you for this.
Blame you for this. Well, in the very beginning, I thought that you were not in the 70% of the loved ones that blame themselves for the loved one's addiction. You were, and you were blaming. Now, let me ask you this too. In the new rehab, is that circle still there? I can hear that Christian song, "May the circle be unbroken." All the angels around you in the circle of love.
So one of
That's
the
cool.
roles that I've taken that is extremely important to me because of my experience with my mother and what has gone on is that the families have someone to talk to and rely on. I talk to every family that wants to be involved in their son's process. And it's important for me to be that rock for the mothers especially, that they, you know, to give them guidance and to give them some kind of hope and some direction. Because I saw what I did to my mother. I mean, she literally couldn't sleep for 20 years, you know?
Well, and let me tell you, through rehabs across America, I'm not bragging, right? 43 years of business next February. You know how many rehabs I want to talk to a mother that has a successful child, daughter or son, that has made it. I need to talk to mom. You know how many rehabs got that? 0.00. You call a rehab and you say, I need to talk to one of your clients' mothers, the ones that had a prayer that how they did it. They're like, what the hell? Are you crazy? So again, I'm trying to make points and points and points about why the rehabilitation center or the new place that you guys have is different than the others. Okay, they all don't work the same.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And the reason being, and we're not going to give away all the secrets, and we'll have, you know, them popping up across the country. But one of the great, and I didn't know this till right now, one of the great things is you're available. Let me tell you a story really quick, right? Now, I had 12 children, I had 6 sons, and I had a daughter. All of a sudden, I told the doctor, you better look again, because it takes a man to make a boy, and I'm half Apache. They said, no, that's a girl. So as I raised her, you could imagine, she was my Barbara. She's my mother's, I named her after my mom, Barbara Katie. And she was my straight A student, blah, 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 blah. So in 2006, she went to see her real mother in Alaska. I got custody of the kids. She went there and she called me and said, Dad, I lost my glasses. I need $300. I sent her the money. 2 days later, she called me again. She goes, Dad, I need $300. I was like, oof. I sent her the money. Mm-hmm. She called me the third time in 3 weeks and says, Dad, you won't believe it. This is the dumbest thing. I know you think I'm lying, but I rolled the window down and the wind blew my glasses off again. And my former wife said, listen, she's doing dope or something. Don't send her no money. So I snuck to Western Union and I sent $300. Now she took the $300 that I sent her and bought dope. That night she died in the worst crash in Alaska you've ever seen. So guess what I did? I loved my daughter to death. So there's a lot of people out there doing it. Now what you did is you breathed the breath of life back into your son. I wish that I would have known what you're saying right now back then. And you know, that's only 14 or 15 years ago. So I'm not Bullwinkle and knew it all the time. I'm also learning. So women and mothers and fathers and husbands and wives that are able to get a hold of you, you are the first one I would have called. What did you do? You didn't, you didn't do the tough love, go on, I hate you, you idiot, I call it, and they recommend that now. Tough it up. Yeah, I'll shoot it out. Tough it up on me, bro. You better be well armed. So you see what I mean? That tough love doesn't help with every single one.
It does not, no. And I mean, I got all that advice as well. I mean, that's why, my family, his dad wanted me to just throw him out and all this. And it was a balance. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there were times I sent that $300 too. I mean, absolutely. Because you were balanced, but it was really a balance. Where is he? Is he in a place that it's really dangerous? Is it so all of these things made a difference. if he was home with me, then I was like in his face. You know, I mean, I used to take the hinges off the doors to the bathroom in his bedroom.
Right. You know how many parents do that? You know how many parents are doing that? Locking the door, disconnected the cell phone, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we're running short on time. So here's the whole gist of your point. Each single person has a different way to be healed. But
Yes.
you are a mother of a son that used to be like that. So you have time. Let's say we have 30 at a time in the house, 30 to 60, let's say 30, 31 days in a year. You can take 1 to 2 phone calls every day.
Absolutely.
You absolutely can do that. You're not Dr. Phil and can't be getting gone online. You can answer the phone, and of course you have, somebody screen the call, make sure it ain't some maniac, because there are some around here, but in the whole country. But I mean, you have the time, you're willing to be able to do that. It doesn't cost extra to have Mama jump in. And we love you very much. Thank you. So
this is a family, I look at all of this and all the people that Dana and the crew are trying to heal. This is something we've done together. I mean, I have a condo down there. I wish I were there now, but and we've had many people sleep on that couch detoxing when we've had to, before we open this business. And this is, I'll say, use my bedroom, go in and, have them sleep in my room, and this is what we do. I mean, this has been going on way before we had a business. I used to take, Dana's famous for bringing people home who were in trouble. I had many people live in my house here in Massachusetts, that, young people that had a bad situation, and they stayed with me. One girl stayed here for 5 months. Another guy stayed for a couple of years. So, and I helped him get his GED, and I helped him get his life. This is just who we are.
That same guy works for us today.
Oh, does he?
Well,
you're experienced in it. So there, again, things that you don't, what makes you champion your rehab, be the best. Some things that you do that no one else does is this, okay? Your mother, who has been there, done that, got you straight, brother, knows what to say to the next mother. You know how guys come up to me and you, when we did that, and go, hey, bro, what would your mother say? I don't know, let's call her. What would your mom say? How did? I don't know, here's her phone number. Yeah. You see what you're getting? You see what? And I don't mean to sound like that, but I dissect. I'm the investigation behind the investigation.
There you go.
I want to know what I can offer my people, what makes you the best in the world, and you will not let them go asunder. You will not let them go down. That's a tough kid to heal. And this kid's healed. He's completely healed.
So here's the other thing. I mean, the very thing that made my son so tough to heal is his his hard-headedness, which I share, I might add.
His gift of gab and tongues of angels.
Yeah, he's persuasive. He's very persuasive, and he's very kind. And so what happened was he just lost faith. He lost hope and faith. So he took that strength and persuasiveness and persuaded himself that he was hopeless. So what my job was to turn that around in him. And what my son does is the same thing. So he recognizes that in people, and he turns that around in them. Right. And also he will talk to the parents, and he doesn't talk down to the parents. I mean, I've had many a rehab talk down to me as if I was an idiot.
Oh, yeah. Okay? You're the reason why it happened, and we talked.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're this.
So you don't put, you know what a shock collar is, right? You put on your German Shepherd.
Yeah.
So you didn't put a shock collar on and hit the button all the time.
No.
I mean, that's what they got. That's what they make you feel like. Yeah. Well, who's the junkie in your family? Yeah. You're like, oh, it was not the parents' fault. It's not the parents who did it. It's not television. It's not Google. It's not the computer. It's not the girlfriend. It's the choice the individual makes. You want to get high and be a failure? Go. You want to stop getting high and be a success? I mean, that's what we need is not all this, take this pill to overcome this pill,
Right.
Take the methadone to overcome this heroin, and someday you might get off. But if you get off the dope, then how are we going to make a living?
The other thing is
Right.
this, honestly, is that Dana and I both believe the same thing, that it's not one sort of prescription that fits all. So we recognize the individual, and that's what makes this very different as well.
That's good.
You know, we kind of specialize in that person who is hard-headed, that person who, you know, is just never got the message. They weren't ready. They didn't
no one spent the time to find out what the real problem was.
Correct, because they want to fit it into one book.
And that's what's different, is that we're small and intimate, where we can sit there and spend 2 hours with a guy and really get to know him, and really what's making him do the things he's doing.
The bad things.
Yeah, and that's what's different. You're not a number. You're a person, and you become family, and it's brotherhood. And it's like, let's figure this out together. I don't have all the answers, but let's find out.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Beth. We'll see you again. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for this.
And everywhere, my social media team. I got my fancy girl. She'll say the prayers. Get the angels talking about it.
Oh,
And
that's
thank
awesome.
you. We love you very much. Good job you do with this young man.
Thank you. Thank you so much, really. I wish I were there. I wish I
You
were there.
will be soon. Aloha. Thank you.
Take care.